Parliamentary by-elections are a course so Ayawaso East. Eba be declare nipa or rene abano both NPP and NDC. Na Electoral Commission eba be declare Baba Jamal say ono NRN. Ene BBB babe koso political highway so ha gossip politics TV. So unsubscribe ya subscribe na hit say on the notification bell so na any update be ever dropping on. Once ebe to me akabina ene then ena koso political highway so eno ene ya project ede atu screen no enchen ede amamno Baba Jamal to be sworn in as MP for Ayawaso East. Finally, Baba Jamal ono ena say yes ene Baba sworn in as NP in Ayawaso East NPP Parliamentary MP. As you see, ene Baba sworn in Baba Jamal nsensem bi ekoko so during about one Baba koso in Nigeria and nsensem bi vote buying ho nsem bi abusuya bet nyankopon oyiwu se obeye leader wana obeyu entino Baba Jamal ekoso ekokore ne by elections ekoso ewo Ayawaso East na ene nyame aye na dom ye Baba sworn in as Ayawaso MP ebusuya enye asam keto akra Ayawaso East MP as you see Baba Jamal or de enkunim de abotri no abefia or jinani nkwamam yankona yankonkoko tie ensem bi cast mind back ensem bi a course during by elections na course na busuya unsubscribe ya subscribe na hit say on the notification bell so na be any update be ever dropping on onsa ebetumi akabi gossip politics TV so medama say
Baba Ali Yusuf of the NPP come round was number 3 on the ballot. That means any moment from now, we should be seeing Baba Jamal as well making his way here, and the Electoral Commission will make a final declaration, and then we can wrap it all up here with this by-election. Back to you in the studio as we await a bit more in terms of details and a bit more in terms of activity as well.
Eden Mawena, on that scoreboard you shared with us earlier, which had 69 endorsed, voter results there. What has changed since we last spoke? Well, my understanding is that Mawena can't hear me at the moment, but he, of course, gives us the impression that any moment from now, that official declaration should be done. We've seen him speak with the NPP's candidate, Baba Ali Yusuf, who's congratulated the projected lead in this race, Baba Jamal Ahmed. And, he's spoken about his own campaign. He said they went door to door, they were intentional about it, but it was the NDC's election to win. Blair, you have some data to share with us as far as these men are concerned, because I also get the impression that for the NPP, Baba Yusuf is the grassroots person as far as this election is concerned.
I mean, very interesting interview he granted over there, sharing his thoughts on what he makes of the entire process. And it's very obvious that he takes the view that this is just the first step towards what could possibly be a chance for the NPP to capture the seat for the first time. I mean, one of the individuals Mawena spoke to said the seat will return to the NPP. It's never been theirs before. I mean, they are hoping to get it for the first time. And you get a sense from Baba Ali that it's a long game that he's interested in playing. He makes and Mawena rightly points out that it is very rare that you find it. A lot of the times around this time when you know that it's done and dusted, the losing candidates do not go to the coalition center. And he told Mawena that, look, they want to wait there, congratulate Baba Jamal. Even after he's actually spoken to him, he wants to congratulate him again over there and say that, well, there will continue to be voices within the area. It's very obvious that he believes strongly that if he gets the opportunity again, he can do much better than he's done currently. And I think for constituencies where a political party is the obvious stronger party in that area, sometimes consistency is the way to go. And the NPP will look at the last results outcome where the candidate that they presented, Zach Rahman, he was not able to make any leeway. In fact, he came, in terms of the outcome, was their worst defeat, in terms of it being the NDC's most significant percentage obtained in that particular constituency. So depending on how you look at it, you still have to raise questions about the competency of the candidate that the NPP put forward. And so this time around, they settled on Baba Ali, and we're asking all the questions. I don't know whether you are convinced so far with what you've heard. You've heard from the Greater Accra Regional Chairman, you've heard from our analyst as well, you've heard from the man himself who was selected more or less as the consensus candidate.
I think at best the NPP was trying to test out the waters with Baba Ali Yusuf. And I hope whatever they were looking out for, whatever parameters they were using, they have the answers that they desire. But when it comes to strategy, I don't think I heard that from my interview with Ebenezer, Divine, and even Baba Ali himself. When Mawena put that question to him, he only talked about they went door to door. The person from his camp, also didn't give us any proper intentional strategy as far as this is concerned, right? And so I come back to the point I made earlier that I think that this was not taken as seriously as a party that thought that it could upset the results, given the backdrop that led us into the by-election on the side of the NDC.
Maybe seriously is a bit of a strong word. I would go for convenience. And I'll say convenience because there's a point that the Greater Accra chairman made in that your interaction with him, where he says that, well, they had a bit of a short time. Also around that period that we're going to have their flag bearer election as well.
True.
So if they were going to be,
True.
it's going to be competitive. They will not have enough time to repair the tracks. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, that sounds more like convenience. And
True.
obviously, he says that they allowed the party at that local level to come up with the names, and eventually the regional level looked at it and they approved it and they cleared it to go. As always, I keep on making a point that I always believe that the democratic principles, the allowing the people who are supposed to vote is always the good test of who the party should put forward. The reason always being that it is only when the internal process is extremely democratic that you have all members of the party rallying behind the candidates who has emerged victorious to campaign properly for him, especially for a constituency that there will either ways be in the minority. The MPP would either ways be in the minority within the constituency. It will mean that the few MPP members within the very small areas, the electoral areas, would have to always come together and work very hard towards ensuring that they will be able to capture that result. And so it's a very important
absolutely.
point there.
And Blair, we haven't spoken enough about the man, Baba Jamal, and how tonight will be a very fulfilling night for him, given his history in parliamentary races. Have we now?
I mean, Baba Jamal is a very interesting political figure. I think he's barely had a smooth race.
Parliamentary race ever.
ever. I mean, and
I don't know, maybe that should send him a message. But obviously he's bent on returning to Parliament.
I mean, within the context of the races that Baba Jamal has been through, arguably this could be the smoothest to an extent.
Possibly.
Relatively. I mean, very, very difficult situations he's had. I remember the Kufuor into second term period, the multiple reruns in some of the stations and all of that mad Akwetia process.
Yeah.
Eventually he went into Parliament. You had Amase coming in and defeating him and all of that, had to now go all over. I mean, it's always been very, very difficult for him. But I think the takeout word for me is resilience. I think he's very resilient. And he's someone who, when he decides what he wants to do and how he wants to go about it, he just goes out there and he does it. I mean, a lot of people will look at today, you'll be announced as the winner of the elections. And would have said that from the onset, when he said he was contesting, some people said that you are High Commissioner. Why do you want to go into Parliament? The man said that, well, the salary is better there, but this is what he wants to do.
Absolutely.
He wants to come here and be in a domestic politics. He wants to represent the people of Nima and do a good job for them. That was the first hurdle he had to deal with and address all the concerns that came up. Eventually, the election takes place, and we all saw what happened. The vote buying issues come up. He granted an interview. He spoke about it. He's now granted another interview, a completely different direction again. the party intervenes, parliamentary caucus, all on his neck, saying that, well, the election results should be announced. There were people who were leaning towards the spouse of the former MP, saying that, well, should be allowed to go through. So it was very, very difficult, even to the point that a deadline, a day before the close of filing for nominations,
there was a court hearing.
There was that was even before the election proper.
Right.
The day before the filing proper, that was when the party's National Executive Committee had to submit the report on the outcome of the investigation that had been done by the internal party. So that was the first window that he had to scale at very short notice. The party basically cleared and said that, well, there were issues with it. Our laws don't allow us to annul the results in this manner. So you that notwithstanding, the result stands. They were going to embark on more reforms to deal with the issues of vote buying. He's allowed to go through it. Then a day before the elections, in fact, shortly afterwards, a writ is issued by a pressure group questioning his election, not conforming to democratic principles. A day before the election takes place, the High Court comes out to the decision, throwing out that particular matter, and he's allowed to contest, and he emerges victorious.
What a race he's had.
He must be very tired.
What a race he's had. But you're right. You know, the sheer determination of a man to serve his people in Parliament. How does, his entry into Parliament switch things up as far as, the chamber is concerned? I
mean, we will have to go to the screen at this point in time and show our viewers a bit of the numbers and how it looks like. And increasingly, we'll be making a point whenever we cover such by-elections that it is always about bragging rights, really. Especially in this current parliament, the NDC has significant numbers. And let me walk you through that right about now. So what we've done is that we've handed the NDC that current seat now, the one that he's just picked up now. So that puts the NDC number at 185, whereas the MPP is at 87. Then there are 4 independent candidates who we all know are doing business with the NDC already. And so that means that the NDC still having more than the 2/3. And it's very significant to note that this is where the NDC was before January this year, when unfortunately they lost the member of parliament. The country lost their member of parliament as well. So it's the same, more or less, back to where they were prior to it. And I mean, it's really not going to change. It's not changing anything in Parliament. It's just what they had already. It's the MPP side that potentially one would argue that, well, if they had gotten one, we just have added on to their numbers. But still, even with that, it's not going to, again, do any much of a difference. The NDC on their own strength are in the 2/3 region. They have the 4 on their side as well. So the MPP, once again, still staying there. And the MPP, we must emphasize that they've actually shrinked. You remember they used to have Akwetia when the year began, and eventually that has gone down to 87. Akwetia has also added up already to the NDC numbers, with the NDC doing the 185 there. And so this is how Parliament looks currently. And the question that one would ask, especially with the by-elections that we've seen so far, at least we can stick to Akwetia. We can also talk about Ayawaso East. There are those who like data. They will be doing the analysis and saying that, well, there's a bit of a difference because of the nature of some of these constituencies and all of that. But a question that the MPP would have to ask itself straight in the face has to be about the fact that, is the NDC too strong at this point in time for the NPP? That's one question they may ask. A second question potentially could be that, is it a case that the presidency, the president for that matter, is doing well such that it's rubbing off on some of these internal elections that are taking place? And there have been times in the past that I remember Asin, where Jachi Kwesen was, he had won, the whole election was nullified, the election had to take place again, he emerged victorious again, even when the MPP was in power at the time. And so some of those are the constituencies that people will look at and will try and make all forms of analysis to be done. But there's still a conversation to be had about how the NDC appears to be quite dominant. And early on, when I was doing analysis with Alfred, I had made a point that the baseline is from 2016. When you pick from 2016, the MPP had a significant majority in Parliament. You go to 2020, the NDC closed the gap such that the MPP had to fall on the independent candidates to form the majority. Subsequently, in 2024, the NDC emerged victorious, and on its own strength, the party had the majority, even such that they even got the independent candidate on their side as well. And so far, 2 by-elections, they've comfortably retained one that is typically their seat. They've won the other one that was not even their seat going into the by-election. They would manage to win that one as well. And so that is a question that we could potentially ask. But limiting ourselves to the current constituency, and maybe if we get Mr. Danko at some point in time, the conversation about the percentage that is coming up.
Yeah.
Baba Ali is doing a bit more, better than the projection had been around 2.7, if I remember correctly. Then Baba Jamal, around 75. He's not doing anywhere close to this. We understand he's still within 63, less than 64 actually, within that range as well. And I would, I mean, if I get a chance to engage Mr. Dankwa, I would stay more on Baba Ali.
You know, Mr. Dankwa is, over Zoom now. We could have that conversation with him. He was only in our studios a few hours ago. And Blay, you start off that conversation now, and then we'll take it off from there. You have a number of questions to ask him, so you start.
Mr. Dankwa, good evening once again. I mean, looking at the numbers that we are seeing so far, particularly, I want to start off with the performance of Baba Ali. Fair to say that that he seems to be doing very well than had been projected.
I haven't seen the final numbers for him. What did he get finally?
We are yet to isolate that, but in terms of all the others that we have, so minus the MPP and the NDC, all others are looking at 13%. That is what we've seen so far. So if we are to isolate it specifically, we understand that will still be in the 3 region as well.
I mean, if you look at the MPP numbers, MPP candidate is unique. His votes is intact within the margin of error. What we witnessed today is the movement from Baba Jamal to his fellow former NDC candidate, NDC from Petro, which is Umaru Sanda Muhammad. So basically, if you add the votes of Baba Jamal and the NDC, the other NDC guy, you're going to get around 75 or so percent. So it is movement that has happened within the NDC rank and file, and not necessarily across the entire polling. MPP were saying they will get 21%, plus or minus 3% margin of error. But that put him precisely within that numbers. So what you see is just people, friendly movement of numbers, and people who probably said they were going to vote for Baba Jamal, the last minute change their mind to the independent candidate, Umaru Sanda Muhammad.
I mean, but that should be of concern, particularly to the National Democratic Congress, in that, in terms of how they managed this particular electoral process, it could have been problematic for them.
You know, if you look at this candidate in particular, Umaru Sanda Muhammad, he didn't contest the primaries. So he wasn't an aggrieved party in the primaries. But out of the blue, he decided to contest the by-election as independent candidate. So there's nothing really they can do other than maybe convince him not to contest. But he did contest. Now, if he was probably a candidate in the primaries and he went solo, then probably he would have had a much bigger impact than he did. But clearly, it shows that he's quite popular in the areas in Ayawaso East.
I mean,
much more stronger than we thought he is.
In terms of using this bit of the analysis to explain what we are seeing, on the other hand, to the figures that we are getting for the voter turnout, even from the Electoral Commission, they say that the highest, the AC official told us that the highest they've seen so far is around 37% thereabout for one of the stations. Most of them are basically doing under that, and they are projecting that potentially the total outcome in terms of the voter turnout will be lower than we generally record for by-election. Is that another factor that you could lean on in terms of the outcome that we are discussing with regards to Baba Jamal?
No, in terms of the turnout, Nima is predominantly Muslim constituency. About 70% of them are Muslims. And we are in Ramadan. I mean, anybody who lives in Zongo communities know how Ramadan is and how people observe it. In Ramadan, early morning, people are virtually sleeping. They wake up around after 3, or it gets busy from 2, 3, 4 onwards. So that would have also had an impact on the turnout. Certainly, I mean, no by-elections are the same. And Numa has given us a unique situation.
I mean, we are hearing from Baba Ali this evening as well, and he sounds more like thinking that this is a first step towards he possibly contesting again in 2028. From what we have seen by way of the projections and the actual outcome that we've seen, do you think that he is a candidate who more or less gives the MPP a better shot to make some inroads in Ayawaso East?
Look, if you look at his performance, he actually performed lower than the previous candidate in the by-election, in the main election last time. The last time MPP got around 28%. He's done lower than that. So did Baba Jamal compared to Naza. And I don't know what the effect of his performance today will be in the future. But certainly he can build on it, because first time and second time will not be the same. So it may be a stepping stone. As to whether he can make really impact in Nima, it's a difficult one to say at this stage.
What would your answer be? What would your answer be if I ask the same question for Baba Jamal?
Baba Jamal, I think in the next election, it depends upon whether he is able to win the primaries. If he wins the primaries, he's likely, and he doesn't get internal rifts like today, he will probably average the same number as Nima averagely. But if he gets a strong contest from within, and I don't know whether he will survive the primaries. But if he does survive, I think he will still retain the seat.
I mean, given that you conduct extensive polling across the country in diverse constituencies, strongholds, toss-ups, and all of those things, what is the learning that you can put across to political parties that want to make inroads in areas that are the strongholds of their opponents?
I think the answer is find the right candidate and then the right message. It may be tough in a stronghold, but you're able to make a better impact if you have the right candidate with the right message. Always, these two things matter. You cannot just pick anybody and expect to have a good run. So the best candidate or a better candidate and also a very good message. Sometimes the timing of the election is quite important, and the situation at the time. Sometimes you will have a very good candidate, but it's going to be very, very tough election cycles, and that may not help the candidate. But at least the first step is the right candidate.
Before I hand over to Kemini, I mean, it's a conversation we've been having about the turnaround time for the results that come out from the Electoral Commission. I know that your polls that you do, you use a lot of technology as well. As a pollster yourself, where you sit, should we be worried that the turnaround time from the EC appears to be not very impressive, or we should just be fine with how the EC is doing now, especially with regards to by-elections that we've seen so far, where we are just doing just one constituency? It's almost, we're inching towards 9 p.m. and we still don't have the provisional results declared by the EC yet.
I think sometimes I don't know whether it is out of date technology or the process needs refining. Sometimes you need to refine the process and make it much easier. I don't see how or why this small constituency you're unable to declare a result at this time. It was a vast land, vast constituency with the long distances. Yes, you can think that, yeah, let's wait for the pink sheet before we can collate. But these days, I mean, if you have a technology that works well, it doesn't matter where the data is collected. We are able to get the results of our survey within seconds from every corner of the country. So I don't know why EC cannot do that.
Kevin, are you still with me?
I am indeed. And Mr. Dankwa, I'm just wondering if your predictive poll, what you had done earlier, had identified what could be a breakaway from the 75% you had given, predicted for Baba Jamal, onto Umaru Sanders' results.
Look, if you look at the results we had, I think Umaru Sanders has performed at 6% better than the polls in terms of if you add the margin of error, because margin of error was 3%, and we gave nearly 3%. So if you add the 3% to what you got in the poll, that takes him to about 6%. So 6% from what he actually got, let's say 6% or 12%, he's done twice what he said he was going to do, which means he has outperformed the polling numbers. What this simply means is that people who said they were going to vote for Baba Jamal and didn't vote for him on the day actually went to the independent candidate, Umaru Sanders. And because they have the same stock of political party, it is easy to see that kind of movement happen. Indeed, in the last MPP primaries, you saw that our number for Bawumia was spot on. But for Kennedy and Brian, the numbers moved from Kennedy to Brian, and Brian outperformed the poll as we did. So this normally happens within elections where you share the same demographics, the same in the sense that it's NDC based, and that if NDC candidate lost the number, he didn't go to MPP, he went to another NDC candidate.
What will be the important issues based on your survey within the constituency for the whoever, you know, at this point we can't say whoever. The projected winner is Baba Jamal. We're just waiting for the Electoral Commission to do the declaration. So what are the key issues that Baba Jamal should tackle as far as your interaction with the constituents are concerned? What have you learned from them?
Look, in the last poll that we conducted, when we asked them about their top issues as a constituent, I mean, for Ayawaso East, what was coming up on the radar was unemployment. And then you have sanitation issues and education. So normally you don't see sanitation high up in many constituencies, but in Nima it was showing up. So sanitation is a big issue for them, which is sanitation and drainage system is quite important. So they have to work strongly or hardly on sanitation and drains for Nima constituency. And so the unemployment issue, that cut across the entire country. It's not just Ayawaso East, but the entire country. Unemployment is the #1 issue facing the country today. And any poll you conduct anywhere in Ghana, unemployment is #1. As to how they will do that in Nima, I really can't tell. But there are teeming youth of people in Nima that are looking for jobs. So they must find a way beyond Nima to let the people have the jobs, to let the youth.
Musa Dankwa, we'll leave it here for now. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, Abusia, Baba Jamal Honsem, and ya de Bremo, our political highway. So unsubscribe here, subscribe and hit on the notification bell so never any update be able dropping on. Also, once every to me, Akebi, Bramase.